We are live. What is up, everybody? Here for episode 5 of Beyond the Throne. I'm your host, Hunter Chambers. I'm joined by my co-host, Zaddeus. Ray Stan for now Smith. How's it going, man?
Thank you, sir. Thank you for announcing me by my new title, my new ever changing title. I'm doing good, man. I'm doing well. Can't wait to talk about this episode. How you doing?
I am doing fantastic, man. I just finished episode 5 of House of the Dragon. I almost said Beyond the Throne. That's the show we have. But
It's all right.
House of the Dragon, man, a lot of stuff happened in this episode. I can't wait to get into it and talk about it because this was a very impactful episode. Z, non-spoiler thoughts. We will start with you first.
No spoiler thoughts, of course. I'm conflicted, and we'll talk about more why I'm conflicted. But I like the episode a lot, and it has nothing to do with how good the episode was. I'm not even gonna say how bad because it wasn't bad. It's just that this episode has me feeling a certain way about one particular character, and I hate it, but it's not something I didn't see coming. Also, I just hate how it happened, and it just reminded me of an all too famous line. I think one of the most perfect lines from any movie, like ever. You either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become a villain. And somebody is definitely walking that road right now. So we'll touch on that a little bit later.
Yeah. So on to me. I love this episode. I think it was exactly what it needed to be, and it feels like because I guess spoiler, but not really spoiler. Next episode is going to be a 10-year jump, so they needed to wrap up the kind of the younger versions of Rhaenyra and Alicent and all them, wrap up their stories to lead up into what happens 10 years later. And I actually think this does because now we get to see more of like what the time jump does to people like Kristen Cole, Alicent, all them, like where are they in their lives. So I like the idea of like ending it on here on this level, and then we open up 10 years later and see what happens in that jump.
I feel you. That makes a lot of sense. I'm glad you brought it up because I wasn't sure if you knew about it as well. Like, because I'm still doing like you. I haven't seen the previews for next week's episode, but I think unfortunately Facebook is kind of, I'm not even gonna say unfortunately, but Facebook has kind of spoiled the fact that this was Millie and Emily's last episode of the show, and like hats off to them. Like,
Yeah,
like exactly, bravo.
Applause, man.
They've been excellent throughout these first 5 episodes of the series, and like it made me like both the characters a lot, and like I'm looking forward to seeing what the actresses do in the future, whatever they may do. There, I am now fans of Millie and Emily from here on out. But I'm very interested. I'm very interested to see what Emma, I think is who's going to be playing Emma Darcy or Emma D'Arcy. I apologize if I got that wrong. And then Olivia Cook, which I think the only thing I see her in was Ready Player One.
Yeah,
exactly. But
Samantha.
I'm looking to see. Yeah, I'm looking to see how they take the reins over. No. Take over the reins.
Not gonna lie, Olivia Cook is a very great choice to play an older Alicent because she looks like like young Alicent just growing up.
They both do because I saw a picture of Emma, like they put it side by side of maybe Millie a little bit younger than Emma, which Emma also. I'm like, damn, so they went all out when they went to casting. It also makes me wonder, are they gonna? Well, I'm sure they're gonna have to upgrade like people like Laenor and Laena, which will be interesting too.
Yeah, so let's go through the notes I have. I have tons of notes for this episode. It's a star-studded episode. But we open up the episode on Runestone, and me Rhea Royce. By the way, I did not know this, but her nickname is the Bronze Bitch, and I can see why.
Okay, it's what my thing was. I wasn't sure if that was this. I'm not. This is just where my mind was. Like literally for the first 4 or 5 episodes of the show. I'm like, why is Damon calling his wife the bronze bitch? This is your wife. Like, why are you doing this? And the first thing that came to mind, like, is she a person of color? Damon, like, damn, Damon, why are you calling her that? She because she's darker skinned, you gonna call her bronze bitch? No, it's literally because she has like a bronze breastplate and all that stuff, and
And she's an actually bitch.
yeah, and I think she wears that with pride too. So I'm like, okay, like
Yeah.
it was good to actually meet Lady Rhea Royce for the time that we had her, at least.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we meet Rhea Royce, wife of Damon, who is out hunting deer. When she meets Damon, she goes for their bow to attack, and when she does, it scares the horse, and she falls, leaving her paralyzed. Damon wants to leave her, but after she says you can never finish, he kills her off. He kills her off screen with a boulder. By the way,
Go ahead.
Damon is still not a bad guy in my opinion because she initiated the attack.
No, you
She
know
was
what?
going for the.
She gave Damon an excuse. It looked like Damon was going to do something anyway, and she read the room correctly. However, I think she should have been smart about the moment because she was. I know Obi-Wan's like, I got the high ground, but you're not in a good place right now, Rhea. You're on top of a horse, and all Damon had to do was
No,
pretty much
watch,
scare the horse.
watch the scene again because Damon will not do anything until she draws the bow on him.
Well, no, well he's messing. I'm not saying he's messing with the horse, but he's like,
He's calming the horse down.
yeah, because I feel like he knows, like, Damon is looking very innocent at that moment, but in his mind, he's like, I'm about to F you up. I'm about to. And she
You know what's
knew it.
funny?
She
You
knew
know what's
something was
funny,
about to happen.
Your thing says Ray Ray Stan. Mine just say Damon Stan.
Right? Hunter Davis stand for life. For life. Never.
Yeah.
You know what? Again, it doesn't make me hate Damon at all, but it's like, this slime, because again, at the end of the episode when we get later, it's pretty clear like how this has opened up a new avenue for Damon. You smart bastard. You.
Oh man. So we move on. We cut to King Viserys and Rhaenyra traveling to meet Corus about arranging a marriage between Rhaenyra and Corus' son. Is it Laenor?
Yeah,
Laenor Velaryon.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very interesting because they have hints in this episode, and more than hints, saying that Laenor is, I believe, gay.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I
the
loved it too. So, but
yeah,
continue.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, the arrangement that they have is, or that Laenor and Rhaenyra
Ray.
have,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, Ray have. It makes sense for both parties, and
Mm-hmm.
I like the way they're like, well, we're forced to do this, so like show face, in front of everybody, and then behind the scenes, fuck whoever you want. I do not care.
And I love that whole. I like absolutely love that whole scene between them on the beach. Rhaenyra knew her cousin right off the bat, and then I guess that makes sense because she should know who her cousin is. It's like I love the whole duck
Yeah,
and the roasted duck and goose metaphor, and like how it's a matter of taste and like you said, we'll do our duty for our fathers for the realm. Then we can do our own thing. Like we have the freedom to enjoy whichever appetite we love the most. I'm like, bravo! This is a pretty progressive shit for like Westeros,
and,
like
and
old school Westeros. I like
it
this.
makes sense because
It does.
it's not trying to shove a message in there or anything. It's just saying, hey, these people are horny. They're gonna fuck whoever they want to fuck. So
Exactly. And this is I feel like this would be the best couple ever for Game of Thrones if the final events did not happen, because that has me worried. But this right here was a very triumphant moment. Like I can see this being a very strong power couple throughout the
oh yeah.
decades. However, don't think that's going to happen. But we'll continue with that later.
Now going off from there, after the beach scene, we see who is it? Corliss and his wife. What is his wife's name?
Rhaenys, who I love the relationship.
Rhaenys.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, where she's kind of worried about um, what was it Rhaenyra taking the throne
Mm.
because of wars, and I love how calm Corliss is. He said something like, "We have the largest army in the world and half the dragons. If anyone tries to step to us, we will fight." And I'm like, who would fuck with them? They have half the dragons and they have pretty much all the navy. So
Agree.
anyone who tries to go to war it's a losing war at that point.
Agree. Like, and I felt the same way. Like Corliss, and I think he was doing his best to like calm her down, calm her, and to ease her worries about the whole thing, because again, like that's her only son. I think, even though there was another guy there too, but I don't know who that was. But
Yeah,
that was her own. That's her only son. So I have no doubt that she would be worried about him being this. And because nobody should know how the realm will feel about a woman queen better than her, because they didn't want her to be queen. They voted for Viserys, and again, while his reign has been a nice, peaceful reign, who knows what it could have been under Rhaenys? Could have been better. Could have been worse, but could have been better. But
yeah,
nobody knows how dangerous the kingdom, the queendom is for a woman better than Rhaenys right now.
yeah. So then we cut back to the king on the ship, and we meet his new hand, Lionel Strong. Let's go. Makes sense for him to be the hand of the king.
It makes sense, but it has me worried. But we'll talk about that
I
later.
know exactly where you're going, and I have that in my
Yeah.
notes as well.
Has me worried. Because let's just sing his. I'll just sing his praises so far, because I think he's been the most level-headed uh, member on the small council through his past 4 episodes, through his past 5 episodes. Well, yeah, past 4 episodes, and now on this
Yeah,
fifth one. And if it may be going the way I think it is going, bravo, because damn, like
yeah.
bravo,
So
because like it was his idea of this whole Viserys proposing marriage to Laenor,
yep,
Rhaenyra being married to Laenor. And yes, even though he said that Laenor should marry Viserys if Viserys turned that away, but this idea is a very smart idea right now between Laenor and Rhaenyra,
and
and it
that's
seems like
probably
it will.
why he chose Laner to be his hand.
Yeah, exactly. Like he doesn't feel like Lionel has any ulterior motives. Maybe.
Which which at the end of the episode we will see about that. But we
Yeah.
move on. We see Otto Hightower, who is leaving to go to the Old Town, which is a very cool reference back to Game of Thrones. The Old Town is the home of the Hightowers. When he confronts Alicent about believing Rhaenyra and choosing her over him, he also tells Alicent that in order to save her and her children, she will need to kill Rhaenyra. Ooh,
Yeah. And this is just kind of partially one part of my title right now. Also, Ray standing for now, because as devious and scheming as Alo has been throughout the season, part of me feels like this is part of me feels like this thing is still he's still manipulating his daughter, of course, trying to get her to take over Rhaenyra, take out Rhaenyra first before Rhaenyra comes for her. But I guess this part of me that knows how Targaryens can turn, and this is a reason why I feel like people should watch this show first, and then maybe Game of Thrones. I don't completely disagree if the way that she could make sure she is never challenged, her kingdom, her reign is never challenged, would be to take out her any other heirs that Viserys has, and like he's an asshole, but he's kind of making a good point. But at the same time, he's manipulating his daughter also, but he loves
yeah.
her, and I think he is honestly a little afraid of her right now. But
Oh, he is because he knows that she holds all the power.
yeah,
Because even though,
she holds
like,
the power, but she's not
Viserys,
doing anything with it.
yeah. So even though Viserys is the king, the queen is the most powerful piece because the queen has his ear.
Mm.
Like Alicent is trusted so much by Viserys, that whatever she says more than likely will happen.
Well, yeah. And right now she's used that power these past two, three, four, no, 3, 4, 5. For these past 3 episodes, she's been used that power for good to make Viserys be a peaceful, good, just king. And with like things with Rhaenyra and the Craft Eater and like sending troops to go help Daemon and stuff.
Yep.
Now she may now realize her power. Actually, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. She realizes her power by the end of this episode, and
Oh yeah.
yeah, she could be using that power to more dastardly ends now.
All right. So then we see Laenor training with Joffrey Longmouth, aka the Knight of Kisses. I
Stop!
love that nickname.
Stop! And I say stop because at first I like this dude, but as soon as I heard his name was Joffrey, I'm like, no, kill him now, kill him now.
Kill this man.
Really, I shit you not. As soon as he said his name at the scene later, he's like, "I'm sorry, Jeffrey Longmouth." I'm like, wait, pause. I literally rewound my HBO Max. Like, what's your name? Did he say Jeffrey? You said Jeffrey, right? Oh, I'm sorry, Jeffrey Longmouth. Like, nope, kill this much now. Kill him now.
Man.
Like, no,
hey,
we don't
it's
mess
weird.
with people named Joffrey.
It's weird. In 2 episodes, in 2 different seasons, there have been a character who ended up dead at a fucking wedding.
I thought the same. I'm like, I literally said when he died, I'm like, well, Joffrey's gonna Joffrey. So he's like, of course, another Joffrey dead at the wedding. Can we make it 3?
Yeah. Can we make it a third time? So Alicent is approached by Lars Strong, who, as I have here in my notes, is the true player of the Game of Thrones. When you think about what this man did, this man is thinking 4 steps ahead of everybody.
Yeah.
Because he's very soft spoken and can blend into most secrets and conversations. He tells Alicent that Rhaenyra has been given a special tea by the king, aka a plan B of sorts. So by him telling Alicent this, she knows that Rhaenyra lied about her virginity. This man set the first domino piece.
Yeah, he did, and he's so sly about it. He's like, oh well, it's such good news that I thought she was sick, but it's such good news to know that she's with the king right now, and she's having such a joyous occasion. We should be all so happy. Slash now.
This man is the true Littlefinger. I thought it was Little Hightower. This man is taking 5 steps ahead.
Let's not give him too much power yet, but he's a little. I realize that Littlefinger name holds a little bit too much power right now, but right now he's on a good couple of steps ahead of Isla right now. I will say that because it made me think about his scene in episode 3, I think it was during the King's name day. Well, Aegon's name day. It just made me realize how Homeboy came and sat with all the women, with Alicent and all the other women around, just chilling, just listening.
Always paying attention.
Exactly, and there's a line I can't remember where I heard it from, but how because he's disabled, of course. Like I think he has like a club foot or something wrong with his foot, but how certain people like kind of tend to ignore people with disabilities at some point. I think he's using that to his advantage because if nobody's paying him any mind, he can listen to everything. He can know everything. So like this, he's definitely thinking that he's definitely playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers.
Oh yeah. So then we meet the king, or when the king meets with Corlys about marrying Rhaenyra, Corlys has some conditions. One, whenever Rhaenyra and Laenor have children, whether it be male or female, they will take the throne, and that when the baby is born, it will have Valyrian last name. Until it takes the throne, then it will have the Targaryen's last name. Mm-hmm. The big balls on Corlys to be like, oh, but first, I have some conditions.
Yes. And I'm glad that this didn't go bad because I think it actually felt very much like just kind of a conversation between old pals right now that wanted to kind of revigorate their friendship because it easily could have
Yeah.
turned very negative, especially given the way that we last saw the two of them interact with each other in episode 2. Like it definitely could have
Yep.
been bad between them, but Corliss had the small condition, and I think Viserys was wise enough, again, a string moment to realize, okay, I'll give you what you want for the first 13 years, pretty much 14 years. So everybody will know that it's a Valerian that's about to become king, but when he or she becomes king,
It's a
they're going to be
Targaryen.
a Targaryen. Exactly. So I'll give you what you want. So everybody will know that it's your blood, but in the end, it's still the
A
Targaryen name.
Targaryen that's on the throne,
Exactly, and
so
that's
that
going to rule
legacy can
Westeros.
continue.
Exactly.
Yeah. So to me, I think the reason why Corliss was so kind to the king is one, he didn't want to piss him off, but two, I feel like it was a power play because
Yeah.
normally when you want to meet with the king, you come to the king. The king came to Corliss and had,
Yeah.
dude, the disrespect on my man. He did not even show up to greet the king. He had his daughter do it.
Yeah, Corliss is like he can come. Actually, I'm not sure. Well, yeah, because Lena had said that that Corliss had just came from a long trip or something, and I do agree he probably should have came out to he definitely should have came to greet Viserys himself, but I kind of felt like it was kind of tossing it in Viserys' face, like this is the wife you could have had, mind you. Lena, go get the king and bring him in. So. I felt
Oh,
like it was kind
oh,
of turning
we
him
will
away.
get to her, but
Yeah, she might be making moves too, but yeah, that'll be interesting.
everybody is making big moves in this episode.
Mm.
So the man of the hour, we got to get to this man, Kristen Cole. So he talks with Rhaenyra on the ship about running away with him to Essos and marrying. She tells him that she is the crown and that she has to marry a noble man, but her and Lanner have an arrangement where they will do their duties as husband and wife, but they can see in bed whoever. Cole says that he broke his oath by bedding her and thought that they got married, it would redeem him, and storms off.
I felt bad for Kristen at this moment because literally, while I'm looking at my notes, I have like in both letters like he wants them to run away to be together to be free, and I'm like he's got it bad for right now. He is full on head to toe in
To
love
be
with this
fair
girl.
though, I mean,
Well, yeah, but
you gotta
I
think
just feel
she was the first
well,
woman he laid with.
probably yeah, probably so. But especially, and the thing is, I think he actually feels a love for her because he does. I think it takes he he broke his oath, and I think he's fine with that as long as he can be with her. And like, because like he says that if at least if they married, that means he broke his oath for a reason. He broke his oath for true love, pretty
I
much.
always thought people in the Knights, what's it, the
The
Knights
the
King or whatever.
Kingsguard.
Yeah, the Kingsguard couldn't marry either.
Well, I think so. I
They
think so.
didn't,
But the fact of the matter is, he doesn't.
because
Actually, you're
John
right.
couldn't marry either. He
Not
couldn't
Not
marry or
even
have
that.
sex.
Well, that was different. That John was part of the Night's Watch. But you're right about the fact of the Kingsguard because I remember in the main series, Jamie couldn't, as long as he was a Kingsguard member, he couldn't
Yeah.
marry or hold no titles, and that's why Tywin eventually banished throws him off of the King's Guard and tells him that you're gonna go back to Casterly Rock, marry yourself a fine woman, and put an end to these horrible, disgusting rumors. Of course, with him and with Cersei. But King's Guard members actually have an oath, and I never thought about that before until I heard about the Kristen kind of not complaining, but talking about him breaking his oath, and that kind of brought that scene back to mind with me. But yeah,
Yeah.
they can't get married. They could probably have relations. I doubt never. I doubt. I can't remember any other Kingsguard members not having sex throughout the show, like throughout the main series. But I know they can't hold any titles. They can't hold any lands. That's supposed to be their job. Like their life
Yeah.
is to guard the king and queen. So yeah,
Yeah.
Kristen is pretty upset that he broke his oath, but he's willing to. He's okay with it if he could be Rhaenyra. But I feel like part of Rhaenyra, I call her Ray again, but I feel like part because there was a part where she smiled, and I felt like she wanted that. There's a part of her that wanted that, but then the stronger part of her wanted that. She's like, listen, I can't do this. I gotta marry Rhaenyra. He's a fine man. We're gonna have fine. We're gonna have a great dynasty that's gonna basically rule over Westeros for generations to come. And she mentions I forgot the exact line, but she brings up the fact how like her dynasty is just not for her, and it made me think about the whole song of Ice and Fire that Viserys
Mhm.
shared with Rhaenyra about whenever he showed her the blade and stuff. So I feel like Rhaenyra feels like she has to be queen to basically keep this promise that she has to her dad to pass this song down to heir after heir and stuff. Because again, a Targaryen has to be on the throne, at least in Viserys' mind, in order to destroy the coming night that's coming in the future. So
Yeah.
I feel like she has a sense of duty. Her duty is actually outweighing her love in this case. But then
Yeah.
she wants him to be her fair. But he's like, so
Her
you want me to
whore,
be your whore?
as he says. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Dude, just accept it. Move on.
yeah. Part of me was like that, but then again, part of me is like, Rhaenyra, like, do you see how? Like, I don't think you quite see how much you've broken this man a little bit. Like, I know the last moment with in the last episode, episode 4, a great moment between the two of them, especially with her realizing that she can have sex for pleasure and not just for duty. But it meant a whole lot more to him, I think, than it did to her. Right, unfortunately, right, at
Yeah.
least as far as we know right now. But
I will say this. I'm not putting the blame on Rhaenyra because I feel like now she's finally growing up and growing out of that rebellious phase, and now when she is met with consequences of that, which is, hey, this dude that
exactly.
you laid with now has feelings. She has to show strength as a queen,
Well,
potential
yeah.
queen, to say no. My duty is to do this
Hmm.
because my family's legacy is on the line.
Uh,
But she tries to come up with a great middle of like, we still have our pleasures and things like that, but it can't go further than that. Which
yeah.
to me shows that she could be a queen who can be strong when need be, but can also handle situations when it comes down to like two different parties.
Mm,
She can be the one to make a right decision now more than ever.
yeah. Even though part of me at this moment also feels like once you see his reaction, kill him. Kill him now. Push him over the boat. Whatever. You should have killed him at this moment because
Put him on board.
yeah, push him. Do something because he kind of has the ball. He kind of has a very strong trump card in his pocket, a little ace in the hole, which he may or may not use a little bit later in this episode. But let's continue.
Yeah, so Allison then call into her chambers, which holy fuck, at that moment I was like, he's thinking shit, 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 shit.
Mm,
I'm in trouble. Asking for more information about the tea that Rhaenyra received. Allison wants to know about Daemon and Rhaenyra, but Kristen comes out and says it's him that laid with Rhaenyra. This tells Allison that Rhaenyra lied on the memory of her mother, and this lie got her father demoted. Cole asked for a swift death, but is let go by Allison. My man could not wait like 30 more seconds before saying it was me, huh?
uh, parents, if any parents are out there listening to this, cover up your kids' ears because I literally said like when Allison brought Sarah Kristen into the room, I'm like, keep it cool, and because we knew that she was going to talk about the whole Damon issue, about the ugly Damon rumor, while he's sweating over here thinking it's about him, and when he says yes, I did, I'm like, you motherfucker, you
Really?
shut up. You shut up.
I,
You
I
you have
wonder if this was a plan by Cole the whole time, though. I wonder if he had secretly did that to get on the great side of Alicent because he is pissed off with Rhaenyra.
Well, I don't think so, and I say that only because of what happened at the end of the episode. Well, what happens at the end of the episode and what he's about to do. But I think he's honestly scared that he's about to that Allison is going to want him killed, and that he's going to have to be stoned or executed and tortured or executed in a way that like he
Yeah.
thought. But Allison just lets him go. Like says, "Thank you for telling me the truth," and lets him go. And this is that pivotal moment I think for Allison because, like you said, while when they were in the garden, Rhaenyra promised that Daemon hadn't touched her, and that the rumors about her and Daemon were untrue. However, she never disclosed. Well, at that time, nothing. Well, she had never mentioned anything about her and Kristen hooking up or anything about that. But it's like in my eyes, it's like Rhaenyra's like, well, you didn't ask me about Kristen. You asked about David. So technically, I'm not
Which
lying.
is fair. Which is
Yeah,
fair, by the way. She asked about Damon, and she said Damon never touched me.
which is definitely a lie. But Damon never laid with her at least. Like they never
Yeah.
slept together, and so she's lying a little bit. But the overall thing is the rumor about me and Damon is completely untrue. Take that out your mind, Allison. I promise on my mother.
Which
Damon and me
it
never
kind
had.
of is untrue though because
Well, it's
they
very
never laid
untrue.
together. Yeah.
Well, yeah, they never laid together. He touched her, but they never. There were no sexual relations with that woman between the two of them. So she was right. It's just that I feel like this makes Allison upset because she's upset that I think she's upset in two ways because Rhaenyra didn't tell her about Kristen because it should be a big deal that Rhaenyra had sex with Kristen between friends. Like if this was episode one and episode one, Allison and Rhaenyra. If Kristen had told her about even episode two, Rhaenyra and Allison. If Kristen had told Allison about this, I think it would be okay. I think it'd be fine. Maybe even episode three. But Allison is in such a place right now that I feel like her life, besides maybe her love for her children, is miserable. She does not. She might love Viserys on some level, but
It
like
even
last
shows in like her. Sorry for interrupting you, but it even
go
shows
ahead.
how miserable she is when she's holding her baby daughter, and you
Yeah,
just see her. She's tired. She's miserable. She doesn't want to deal with this child anymore.
exactly. And I feel like she's 1000% jealous of Rhaenyra. That even though she's the queen, she should have all the power of the land. She feels like the most unfree person. There's a word for that in this whole kingdom. Like she's supposed to be this powerful entity, but she's a captor in her own marriage. She has no freedom to do anything. And while Rhaenyra's about to be handed everything on a silver platter once Viserys dies, and she can have her freedom and be queen. So I feel like Allison is just this is kind of that ticking time bomb, and it just lights a match in her head. Like I can't do this anymore. Like I can't handle this. I can't believe she's doing everything that I should be able to be doing. I should be able to do since I am queen right now. I should be able to have the same freedom, but I can't. And unfortunately, this is kind of the position that her father put her in. But I don't blame her at all for feeling that way. I think she feels justified for feeling trapped in this marriage, but I just don't. She's definitely not going to do well. And this is again where the Batman conversation, the Batman line, the Dark Knight line comes in. Like this, I think this is her moment where she starts to become the villain. It actually made me think of also the relationship between Clark and Lex from Smallville and like how they started out as
Yeah.
good friends, and yet it was lies and then jealousy that eventually, I think, at least in that show, that caused Lex to like completely turn against Clark and like go against him. So like, I think this is definitely where we're headed now.
I didn't think about that, but isn't Allison is technically a Targaryen now, isn't she?
By name only.
By name
Yeah.
only,
Well, yeah. Well,
but remember,
actually,
again,
go ahead.
again, I mean, if she is known as a Targaryen by marriage, if she takes that name, that could be the Targaryen Civil War between Alicent and Rhaenyra on both ends. Maybe Daemon joins Rhaenyra to fight off the army against Alicent, and that could be because we never know. Like we heard of the Targaryen Civil War, we don't know who were the involved in it.
Well, yeah, and I definitely don't disagree with with what you're saying there. I definitely think that I actually think that's pretty much how it's going to happen because I think uh Alicent's going to have her betterment and her people on her side, and it's going to be the Targaryen Civil War is technically going to be between maybe her son Aegon Targaryen and then versus his aunt and wait, yeah, his sister and
His aunt,
his uncle. Yeah, you're right. No, that's his sister. Yeah, I forget. Rhaenyra is his sister. So,
yeah, sister. Sorry, yeah.
yeah, that's his sister and uncle, and that I think that's where the battle lines is going to be at. Right.
And also at the end of this episode, we could have Sir Kristen Cole
Oh,
on Allison's side,
he's 100% on Allison's side now, and it actually
which
made.
could lead to really good drama on the battlefield when Rhaenyra has to fight him potentially.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, because Rhaenyra's a badass. And I definitely don't see her like when battles come in the future. Like I don't see her just being like one of the queens that she's gonna stand in the tower and watch her people fight for her. No, she's gonna be down there getting bloody and stuff.
All right, so yeah, we move on. 1 week before the wedding, there's a huge feast party. To everyone's surprise, Daemon comes in and sits by his brother at the main table. Then, in the middle of the king's speech, Alicent comes in, dressed in a green dress, which Sir Lars says that green is the color that beacons when the High Towers go to war.
Yeah,
That
it's the color
that line is very interesting to me.
Mhm. I think it's very telling. It's very telling. I think of where we're gonna go in the future.
Yeah. She then tells Rhaenyra, "Congratulations, stepdaughter. What a blessing this is for you." I believe this is the first time she calls
First
her
time.
stepdaughter.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
I'm glad you took it out of my mouth. This is exactly the first time she's got her stepdaughter, and it's so. And the divide is just last week it was the tone. Just last episode, she had called her sister, I believe. She had called Rhaenyra her sister, and again, like just because best friends, like okay. And I was so happy because it seemed like their relationship was on the mend. It was going so well, but she was so matter of fact with this. Congratulations, stepdaughter. May the gods fortune you like just
I
go
also
back and
think
do it.
this was a power play
Oh,
because she was like,
1000%.
you're below me now.
This is the best Allison has ever looked throughout, and I mean that in the powerful sense because I liked Emily Curry and I liked Allison as a sweet Allison. This was Queen Allison right here.
Yeah.
This was the queen that came through that walked in on her timetable, mind you. She walked
She
into there.
interrupted the king.
Yeah,
That's very
exactly.
telling.
She walked in on her timetable. Was like, listen, I know everything. I'm in charge now, and she walked in like you said when she got there, sat down, she had all the eyes looking at her, and I love the line of what Laura said, Laura Strong, and I forget the person that he was talking to about like this basically means it's like I think her green dress is basically saying, listen, all my betterment of House Hightower, be prepared. Just to let y'all know, I'm looking regal. I'm looking like a queen tonight, but y'all should be prepared. Like just know something's about to go down. And I thought she looked. I think this was. I don't want to say her Darth Vader moment, but I feel like this was her Imperial March moment. Like her coming down the aisle, pretty much to go sit next to Viserys,
Yeah.
not with him, next to him.
Dude, the fact that she interrupted the king in the middle of his speech and pretty much like dressed up for war, like the colors of war, and then just in one line made Rhaenyra and everybody around her beneath her by saying stepdaughter, like so like a matter of fact of it. agree with you. This is the best Queen Alicent we've seen.
Exactly.
Because she's been kind of quiet, she's been kind of nice, but now when she learns that her best friend lied to her, boom, it's over.
It's such
Like,
a it's such a misunderstanding, but yeah, in her mind, Rhaenyra has lied to her, has betrayed her, and which she technically hasn't. But it's not like you could not tell Allison this at all. Like Rhaenyra didn't lie to you. She didn't. She never said that she never slept with Kristen Cole. No, off with your head. She would kill me before I could
off
say
with
that.
your head.
Yeah, like, over here, like I don't care what you have to say. This is what Rhaenyra has done to me, and it's like Allison. Like, and
Yeah,
this is why I said I'm conflicted because I hate to see this happen to her, but I at the same time I kind of like this because it actually makes me feel like we have a villain of the show somewhat of the future.
I
Now,
wouldn't call her a villain right now.
you know what? A future antagonist. I'll say that a future antagonist of the show because I feel like I mentioned. I think the crab feeder was a good little snack, a good little appetizer for the first 2 or 3 episodes. I feel like Allison is going to be the major player behind the scenes, and I'm telling you, I said it last week, and I still think it now. I think she's going to kill Viserys somehow.
I could see that.
I think somehow she's
Especially
going to kill
now.
Viserys. Yeah,
Especially now. I could definitely see it. So in this whole party scene, there are a lot of moving parts. First off, um, Gerald, who is the cousin of Rhea,
Rhea. Rhea.
um, confronts Damon about the death of Rhea Royce, to which Damon says that after the wedding, he plans on going to Runestone to take the land. Damon also tries to flirt with is it Lena?
Lena, yeah.
Yeah, Lena.
And she I think she was reciprocating it too because like they the line was like, oh, I forgot, it was like Prince Lena, you look almost as pretty as her brother, like bitch, and she just comes right back at him with something else like, heard about you lady, heard about you lady, wait, I'm sorry you heard about passing, I'm not, like, oh, bro, like
Damon is my spirit animal in this moment.
I like the play that they were doing together, and again, I think it looked like he was about to take her somewhere, but I don't think they ended up getting far at least. But yeah,
No.
I think there's a possibility for a relationship between the two of them in the future, but we'll see because there's again a bunch of moving parts in this scene because I
Yep.
have not felt this uncomfortable in the moment in the moment since I think Car Home personally in season 5. Like I feel like I felt like I was just waiting for doors to lock or for a song to start
You
playing. You're
you
like,
were
move, move.
waiting for the red wedding moment, weren't you? So was
I,
I.
w- I was looking. I was trying like everybody was looking at each other. People were staring here and there, everywhere. Like, who's gonna make the first move? Who's gonna make the first move? And then, yeah. But
We'll,
continue.
we'll, we'll get to that. Funny
Yeah.
enough, there was a tweet by the Game of Thrones Twitter account a week
Uh,
before that said a wedding in Westeros. What could possibly happen with a question mark?
right. Because I think is this the third? Well, no. I'm trying to think. This is maybe the third major wedding, but
Yeah, because you had the red wedding, the purple wedding, and now this one, which I am claiming this the green wedding. So,
that makes sense. I can see it. That'll be the green wedding.
all right. So then we have Joffrey Lonmouth. So, by the way, this man guesses the correct answer first time. It's very
Yeah,
impressive.
it's impressive, but he's a dumbass. But continue. Like he was so stupid. And I say that because I think he should have thought about what would he have done if somebody had came up to him with this information. But he doesn't think about it. All he thinks about uh, is this temporary power that he has. Because like he tells Lena, like she knows our secret, now we know hers. So let me go talk to Kristen about this. Like you idiot.
Yeah. So
And
speaking
what?
of that,
Go ahead.
Joffrey Longmouth concludes that Sir Cole is the one who laid with Rhaenyra, and Joffrey tells Sir Cole that his secret is safe as long as he protects Leonard. Daemon dances with Rhaenyra, who taunts him to take her and wed her on Dragonstone.
Yeah, right. This really makes me feel like the feelings between Rhaenyra and Daemon are a lot more real than I guess I wanted to think of, because it was that sensual face touch at that one moment where when he touched her face like cradle it, and Viserys was
Dagger eyes, dagger eyes.
I love it. They were just talking, and then Damon had his hand on Rhaenyra's face. Viserys was just daggers, like you said, just saying daggers at him, and then you hear a scream. You know why? Let me
Yep.
tell you this. Let me tell you this. Because Sir Joffrey Lonmouth, again, parents, please cover your kids' ear. Cover. Are they covered? Okay, I'll do this when you can uncover them. I'll put 5 up. But because Sir Joffrey Lonmouth fucked with the wrong person on the wrong day. Because this is not the day he should have came at this Christian Cole and talked about this mess. If he would have done it yesterday, maybe it would have been better. Because then he could have went to Rhaenyra and talked about, he knows our secret. But no, this is the Christian Cole that has no else to give anymore.
My
And
man
so
didn't give a fuck.
he just lets go. He just lets off. He's just like, you know what? I'm done with this. Bah, bah,
My man has anger issues.
so much. And the funny thing is, I don't even say anger issues to me. It completely mirrored the scene of Rhaenyra when she was killing the boar from episode 3 to me. Like how
Yeah.
he stabbed the boar, but then when it came back to life, she just started chop 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 chop, and it's like, wow, they are made for each other. When they let their anger go, they let it all play.
Was I the only one who as he's beating down Joffrey, the way he's angled,
I
I
thought
thought
the
he
same
was
thing.
gonna do the
The eye thing, the mountain, the
I
viper.
was like, oh my god, not again.
I was thinking the same thing because I'm like, oh my god, he's about to. But I think it was. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was choking him to death at that point or what, but he had beat that man's face pretty much to pieces, and like, and
He
back,
turned his
I
face
think,
into hamburger meat.
yeah, I think the worst move that he did, and I'm not even mad that he killed Joff because again, first of all, name, you had to die. Uh, two, I just think I think it was a stupid play by Joffrey. I think the worst move that he made, and I'm gonna be interested to see how he gets out of it, was that he struck Laner. I want There has to be some type of punishment for that. I would
Yeah,
think.
that's right. He did.
Yeah, he punched Laner to get him out the way. So I feel like there should be some type of punishment for that. I mean, they could like no. This is I feel like where he had no F's to give because he was about to go and take himself out. But I feel like this is where having Allison on his side is going to come to his aid because Rhaenyra is not queen yet, and then from the looks of it, Viserys may not have the power much longer at all.
So
Yeah.
during this brawl, Lionel Strong nods for his son to rush in for something. This is a question I had. Was it to save Rhaenyra, or was it to stoke the fire even more, to cause even more of a ruckus?
It's a good. I thought the same thing because as soon as he picked Rhaenyra up, I was wondering like, what are you about to do? But I don't think Lionel would play his hands so early. Because again, if you haven't caught the hints that we've been getting, Lionel I think is definitely is going up the little finger ladder himself, and he's doing it in a very smart way. Like I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to the people out there just in case. Like I think he's playing this in a very smart way because he's being the perfect friend, the perfect hand, the perfect confidant to Viserys. But and maybe if Viserys hadn't killed over and like well actually that wasn't bleeding at that moment and because he had started covering blood like when the fight was going, he may have like had another plan. His plan may have gotten a little bit worse. But I think at this moment he was actually wanting to get Rhaenyra out of harm's way. So I think. Yes, I think they're both his sons. I think Larys and then the other guy that he told to pick up Rhaenyra. But I think he actually wanted to get her out of harm's way for now. But I thought it was also sweet though how she was asking for Laner. Like she was trying to figure out where he was throughout this fight, and she wasn't really worried about anybody else. She just wanted to make sure Laner was all right, which I thought that was cool.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I mean, as as Corliss said, they grew up together, so
Yeah.
they already have that love for each other. But you know what I mean? Like it was always there in
Yeah,
other ways too. But
the reason why I chuckle is just because it does remind me of the conversation again between Corliss and Rhaenys talked about when Corliss was like, "Well, they're cousins. They've had familiarity throughout these all these years." And then Rhaenys is like, "But you know your son's true nature." And Corliss is like, "He'll grow out of it." I
yeah,
love the two of them together.
yeah,
I think they're a good
it's
couple.
the gay phase that a lot of parents have.
Exactly. He's like he'll go out like bruh. It's like I roll my nose like Mama knows. Like Corliss is in denial, but Mama knows her son. Like she
Mama
knows.
knows her son.
Yeah, but I think I like them a lot as a couple because even this and I know we're backtracking a little bit but it just made me think about also like how even all these years later, at least 18 years later, he's still and I don't even think it's about him having power. He still rightfully believes his wife should have been the queen, and I don't think it's
Yeah,
because he wants that power. I think he feels like that is a duty that is a title that she should have been given. So
yeah,
I think that's a good couple too as well. So
yeah. I'll also say I love the fact that they didn't like immediately have the dad like Corliss hate his son for being gay.
yeah,
He's
exactly.
just
Thank you.
like he'll grow out of it, which is something a lot of parents say, but he's not hateful towards his son. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Exactly.
Which
Which
he could have easily been.
mhm. Especially in a show like this, they could easily make him a one note character that hates his son for who he is, and they didn't. So I applaud that with the writers and stuff with
Yeah.
Lena's character because again,
So
Lena's a badass. We saw how Lena handled business in episode 3. So
oh yeah.
who he
So
loves does not matter.
so at the end after the brawl was broken up, close outside by the werewood tree, I believe is what it's called.
Mhm.
Which, according to what Thank Story said in his video, the were tree is where either bad things or good things are to happen. Whether it's a war or a death or a wedding, you usually see a were tree behind it or a werewood
Mhm.
behind it. He tries to kill himself, but is stopped by Allison. This is very important because I feel like he's going to now be a servant to Allison. He's going to be the secret, because he's still technically the protector of Rhaenyra, still, as far as I know.
Mhm.
So she's going to have him be the eyes and ears on anything that Rhaenyra does to talk back to her, come back to her, and tell her what's happening.
Yeah, and to me, this is the perfect. This is a perfect shadow to me of the Mountain and Cersei right now.
Yes.
I think that type of relationship between the two of them. So, because like the Mountain was pretty much unstoppable, but when Cersei's like, "So Gregor," until of course he became a zombie, but like other than that, he was always on Cersei's side,
Yeah.
always.
So then at the end, Rhaenyra and how do you say his name? Is it
Later,
Laenor?
yeah, Laenor.
Laenor are wed, and right then the king collapses, his crown falling to the ground.
It was such a
So
sad wedding.
I,
Like
I
I felt bad for all of them because Laner he had just saw his boyfriend, his friend,
it was so
I would say his
sad.
lover. He was
Oh,
so heartbroken. Like and it's like Viserys and I feel like Viserys and Corlys like enough with the party shit. Let's get
get
this
it
done.
over
Y'all
with.
get married now. Y'all are getting married now. Like there's no if and we're not gonna wait a week. Y'all can get married now in a secret. And they do, and it just looks so depressing. Like they're both like, "I am yours and you are mine," and they're both soft spoken. And to me, I think again, yes, they are cousins, but I also think Rhaenyra feels bad because in her eyes, it's her lover, her lover, her former lover that killed her now husband's lover.
Mm-hmm.
slash former lover. So I think she feels a little bit guilty about the situation.
Yeah. So to me, the red wedding was the most shocking moment because I didn't see it coming. This is the most depressing wedding because
Well,
like the purple wedding, I laughed because I hate Joffrey so much. So
the purple rain was joyous. Don't you dare say that was a disaster. That was one of the best moments of Game of Thrones history to
I
me. Like
agree, but this is the
I
most
love that way.
depressing. This is the most
Yeah,
depressing wedding.
I can agree with you on that. Like the red wedding, the red wedding. Interesting enough. Fun fact. It's definitely it's shocking. I can't say it's the most shocking thing, but only because the red wedding was literally the first episode of Game of Thrones I ever watched. And I say that because I used to play the Telltale. I started playing the Telltale video game, and it was set right after the Red Wedding. And so when I played the first episode, I'm like, I have no idea what this Red Wedding is about. Like, I don't know what's going on. Like, because there's a battle that's happening in the first episode of the game. So that made me actually go watch the episode 9 of season 3. I'm like, whoa, shit. Now I see how this is connecting to this game. And mind you, the game is just kind of mid to me. The rest of the episodes were, but also another reason why it made me start watching the show as well because Ramsay Snow was actually introduced in this episode in the episode of the game, and I hated this bastard for something he did. So I wanted to see if he was going to die throughout the show, and unfortunately, I didn't get that too many seasons later. But that pretty much started episode 9, season 3 was the first episode of Game of Thrones. I pretty much went backwards. Like I watched the Red Wedding, then I started with episode 1 of season 1. So yeah, it was a very interesting journey for me.
To be honest, I heard about a red wedding before I ever watched the show. Just because
Mm.
like reviews and stuff, I'm like, you know what, I may not watch this, so I'm gonna watch reviews. But I did not know exactly what happened in the red wedding, so
Mm.
I started the show, got to season 3, loved the Starks, and then guess what? Half the Starks are dead.
Exactly. That was that's the thing about it. Like it did make the time by the time I got to the Red Wedding when I was actually watching chronology, yeah, chronologically, whatever. I
Yeah.
think that's the word. It actually felt a lot more hurtful at that time. Like, damn. But then
Yep.
again, at the same time, I was also able to pick up on hints and stuff like what Laura Karstark said in season 3. Like, well, yeah, this is what's about to happen.
Yep.
But
So to me, this man, every episode of House of the Dragon just keeps getting better and better.
it does.
It sucks that we're not going to see the younger cast again because I love what's the names of the
Millie Alcock and Emily Carey.
yes, I love them so much and I love their chemistry, but and also I want to know what happens in that 10-year span. That's the problem with the time jumps,
Agreed.
especially 10 years because now I'm like, well, what happened? What happened between Allison and Rhaenyra and Cole and Rhaenyra and all of this, and they're setting up like so much good stuff. I think the time jump is going to affect that a lot.
Agreed. And this is what I hope. I hope, well, again, I can hope for anything, but hopefully, while they won't be on the show as regulars anymore, hopefully they
Flashback.
maybe. Thank you. Exactly. Hopefully, maybe in the future we'll get flashbacks to what happened because so many things changed in this episode. Because while it started out well, I think this is going to take a major hit with Laenor and Rhaenyra's relationship as well. I don't see how it cannot. So in the 10 years that's about to jump, yes, they're going to be husband and wife, but how like well in the beginning of the episode they were such good friends and they were the same mind. How is it going to be in 10 years? Are they going to hate? Are they going to be a Joffrey? I mean, not Joffrey, a Robert and Cersei, or what? Or are they going to be?
I
I have so many questions for like.
I don't see that happening, only because I think Laenor is smart enough to see that this wasn't Rhaenyra's fault.
Hopefully, yeah, I hope so too. This was Joffrey's fault, but everything in the show is Joffrey's fault. I'm sorry, flashbacks.
And everything in Game of Thrones and House of Dragons is Joffrey's fault.
Joffrey's fault, one way or another. Joffrey
A
ruins
Joffrey
everything.
always fucks things up, doesn't it?
Always. Parents don't ever
Always,
kill
always.
Joffrey.
But to me, I can't wait to see the new cast come in. I believe Matt Smith is still playing the same
Yeah,
character.
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not sure how old he really is right now. But I feel like maybe they'll either age him up a little bit, or maybe he'll take off some of the aging that he may have now or something. But he's definitely going to be playing uh,
Damon.
Damon. And we both don't think Viserys died, right?
I,
Because
I actually think he did.
I thought so, but then again, part of me doesn't. I feel like they wouldn't shy away from that fact, like that they wouldn't
I
that they.
I feel
Go
like
ahead.
the tall tale of it was that his crown falls to the ground.
Well, yeah, I think what that is, I think this is the last moment he's ever in power, and I say that because I think we'll see him in the future, but I think he's gonna be a king in name only, pretty much. I think he's just gonna. I think Allison is really gonna be the queen consort because who was it? Was it his father or I know Viserys had mentioned something that how I think how it was his father had become his father was king or maybe when Jay Harris was king that whoever it was that Alo kind of took over the duties of the king while the king was sick a
Yeah.
little bit until Jay Harris I think became of age and I, I can't remember the story. Somebody out
Yeah.
there can tell me is that true? But I feel like when the king is ill, even though he's not dead, I think it's either the duty of the hand or the duty of maybe the queen possibly to become king, to step in and rule on their behalf.
Well, didn't
But we don't know.
when Robert got in Game of Thrones, when he got injured or sick, didn't Cersei take over power at that point?
Oh yeah, even though he said, "Nah, I want you to be the king for now until Joffrey become an age." Cersei's like, "Rip." What
So
letter?
to me, I see this as the king being dead only because of the 10-year time jump we're about to have.
Yeah,
There is no way, and even says there's no way he's going to live old man. I feel like the 10-year time jump pretty much like solidifies that he's going to die.
yeah. The 10-year time jump definitely places it in. It definitely makes it a lot more murky. I will say this now. I will absolutely hate it if the show jumps us 10-year jumps us into a straight into a war, which I don't think it will. But like until the Targaryen war, but I need some. Either we're gonna see Rhaenyra on the throne in the next episode, or Viserys is gonna still be king, but maybe Alicent is gonna be saying his wishes or the
So
king wants you to
I
do this.
say,
Right?
here's my theory. Next episode is going to open up with the king's funeral, like maybe a flashback to the king's funeral, and then we're going to jump 10 years later to Alicent being like awarded the throne on the throne as queen for what 8-9 years or whatever at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like that's going to start the civil war between Alicent, who's going by the Targaryen name at this point, because it makes sense. Because again, going back to when um, when Rhaenyra's son or daughter is born, they will have the Valerian name until they take the throne, which will be a Targaryen. So I feel like that's going to be the continuing of the Targaryen line is going to be from Viserys to Alicent Targaryen, and then Alicent's going to go to war against Daemon and Rhaenyra of Dragonstone. I feel like Rhaenyra is going to be married to Laenor, but they're going to move next to Daemon on Dragonstone.
I wouldn't be surprised because Laenor and Daemon already have a good relationship between the two of them.
Yeah, because his father Corlys worked with Daemon on Dragonstone. And
yeah, exactly.
Dragonstone is a location where they're both used to being.
Yeah. So I feel like that would definitely be. I definitely don't see any friction between them, like between Laenor, Daemon, and Rhaenyra. My theory for next episode, I think Viserys will still be alive for the moment, and then I think Alicent is gonna. I'm still sticking with the fact that Alicent is gonna end up on the throne. But I won't say she's gonna be Targaryen because I think she'll go back and put her name Hightower she'll be the first High Tower on the throne that takes the Iron Throne, and then yes, Aegon will be her heir, of course. Aegon Targaryen will be the king there because of
Yeah,
age,
but
but
the only thing I'll say is that will screw up what they're trying to do here with the Targaryen bloodline still on the throne from one
well,
to another.
well, no, well, that's gonna be screwed up in anyway in the future. That's kind of like the burn feature knowledge. We know
I know,
the
I know,
Targaryens
but I'm
are.
saying like for what the show is giving us, of
Well,
like
I
the
don't think.
Targaryen bloodline has to be on the throne for when the darkness happens.
Well, yeah, I don't think. I think that's just the vision for the future. That's the dream that every Targaryen king has had for the future. That they think, at least according to Viserys, that a Targaryen has to be on the throne in order to stop the future darkness and stuff that's coming in the winter, which we know, of course, to be the Night King and stuff. But
Yeah,
we like. I don't think this. I think they will want us. That's what they want, but I don't think the show's telling us it's going to be that way 1,000%. Like,
but
because
at that point,
I,
what would be the Targaryen civil war then?
it's still gonna be Aegon because Alicent is only gonna be queen because Aegon will be king eventually. Like, I think Alicent is gonna completely ignore Rhaenyra's claim as heir or something like heir because she's technically still the rightful heir. I think they will actually. They even make I don't know how old Aegon. Well, actually, you know what? Aegon will actually be 13 in 10 years. 13, 14.
Yeah,
So I don't know. He could technically be on the throne next in the next episode because I think he was 3 last episode. Yeah. So I don't know that. Actually, you know what? I partially want to say Aegon will be. I want partially want to say Alicent is going to be queen, but Aegon actually could possibly be king next episode because he'll probably
yeah,
be 13, 14 in the next episode because since the 10-year time jump, I'd say he'd probably be 14. So at 14, Tommen I'm pretty sure was 14 whenever maybe 14, 15
yeah.
when he became king. So I could see it. But I definitely, one way or another, it's definitely going to be Targaryen civil war between Alicent and Aegon and the High Towers and their betterment versus Daemon, Rhaenyra, and most likely the Valyrian Navy. However, I feel like this is such a losing war. You know what I mean? I don't see how that's going to be such a big war that, even though I will say this, everybody I think wants besides maybe the Valerians now, everybody I think is against Rhaenyra because I don't think like kind of like Rhaenyra said, nobody wants to see a woman be king, well, be queen. So I feel like even though they pledged fealty to Viserys and they bent the knee to her, as soon as Viserys dies, who's really gonna be the one that enforces that? You know what I mean? Like they can
So to
easily say, "Oh,
me, what you could do, and I understand how you're saying that a Valerian and Targaryen merger would be like the murder of anyone who tries to fight them.
yeah,
But as you said, a lot of people don't want Rhaenyra as queen. So what if Alicent, in a show of maybe, as you said, Aegon does take over as king, but who's to say that Alicent doesn't convince Aegon to, show strength and instead of, just accepting, you know, Rhaenyra, what if Aegon just banishes her and then she has to go to Dragonstone with Daemon, who accepts her? Then it's the idea of the accepting of family against the rejection of family. When like your was it your brother? Your brother, right?
yeah, brother
Aegon.
and sister, yeah,
Yeah. So it's like
yeah.
your brother banishes you from the kingdom, but your uncle takes you in.
Well, yeah, and then actually, I think at that time, like you said, with Allison, it'll be very interesting because I feel like Allison is going to do the exact same thing. In your scenario, and it makes sense. Allison is going to basically be doing the same thing to Aegon that Otto was doing to her, whispering in his
Yep.
ear to turn him against his sister. And I wouldn't doubt that if Aegon makes a claim for the throne, even at 14, everybody's going to back his claim over Rhaenyra's claim. So like they would easily back him, and then like you said, if his mom wants her to be banished, he'll do it. And
What family
I think that's a very
do you think
good choice.
would join the Civil War?
On whose side? Because I think everybody will be almost on Aegon and
I don't.
Aegon
I don't.
side.
I think now this is gonna be a weird prediction. I say the Lannisters are going to join Dragonstone and Rhaenyra's side only because I see Jason actually caring for Rhaenyra so much that he joins her side.
Jason is such an idiot. He's hilarious. I say it because the whole that scene when they were at the wedding, like when Viserys is talking about like she's I think the queen's still getting ready. He's like, huh, that's why women don't go to battle because they never beat their own time or something like that. I'm like, bruh, look who you're talking to. I love how Rhaenyra's like, really, really, so good to talk to you, Jason. And like, this guy's a tool.
Yeah,
But
but I
I
see the
wouldn't be surprised.
Lannisters and the Starks because the Starks were the first one to kneel to Rhaenyra, and I don't think that was on accident. I think they were doing that out of respect for the king and his daughter. So I see the Starks and the Lannisters teaming with Rhaenyra and everybody else teaming with Aegon and Alicent.
The only thing here's what I'll say about the Starks. I don't think the Starks liked it, but Rickon Stark did bend the knee, and this is the part where I guess not knowing what's coming, technically, like who's the king, who's going to be the king that has Aerys eventually. Because the only thing I do know is that it is a Stark that is the hand of Aerys. Well, I think that was like either on a small council or something of Aerys or something to eventually burn that. Aerys has them burned to death, which kind of makes the Starks in the north basically go against the Mad King with Robert's rebellion stuff. So
Yeah, so Aerys is the
I'm
Mad
not sure.
King, right?
Yeah, Aerys is the Mad King. So yeah, again, like Sunset, again, people were kind of getting the future lore, but I don't know what side. I don't not knowing who's going to end up being the not knowing whose line the future Targaryens come from, either Rhaenyra or Aegon's line, kind of makes me not sure who the Starks are going to choose. You know what I mean? Because I'm not sure whose great grandchild is Daenerys. Is it Aegon's or is it Rhaenyra's?
Rhaenyra's, yeah. So that gets me wondering who's going to be the hero and who's going to be the villain of the Civil War.
I think that's the beautiful part about this show because even though I think Allison is definitely on the path towards villainy, I think anybody could be a hero or a villain in this show right now while their motivation is could be be for selfish reasons, things could happen. Now, if we see one of them on Dragonbat burn a city full of people, I'm pretty sure that'll be the villain. But I'm pretty sure that's gonna be their villain turn. But other than that, I think it's kind of a tit for tat because interesting enough, this will be one of those this could be one of those coin moments like with Aegon and
50-50.
exactly Aegon and even though they had that little baby, the baby girl that we don't know who she is, but I think that either Aegon could be the mad one or Rhaenyra could still turn out to be the mad one. So again, that's why I say I'm Zaddeus. Ray stand for now. Like for now in big bold letters. Like I have the
I'll
right to
say
change my
this.
mind.
Yeah, I'll say this. I can see Aegon being the villain
Oh yeah, easily.
only because I feel like this episode really shows, as you said, that Allison is going down a dark path that she can't that she won't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Especially now that her vengeance is going against Rhaenyra. I think she and Daemon, instead of it against them, one is evil, one is good. I think both of them are going to be on the good side of this war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll say instead of saying, well, I think Damon and Damon and Rhaenyra are definitely going to be the ones we're rooting for. Yeah,
Yeah. So to me, it would make sense to have, because they haven't done anything with Damon to make him seem like he's a bad guy. You know what I mean? Like in Game of Thrones,
Oh,
in
he's
in
totally
Game of,
right.
in Game of Thrones, we knew who the villain was, right? It was Joffrey and Cersei.
Yes, I will say that he hasn't done anything to that level. He hasn't done anything to Joffrey or Ramsey level. Nowhere near. I will say that Damon has done nothing irredeemable.
Yeah,
I don't think he's done anything irredeemable.
someone. Now the comments can crucify me for this, but someone who I see Damon being like is Jaime Lannister. Someone who started
Well,
off
yeah,
as someone cocky, someone who does something that seems unredeemable, but at the end of the show he redeems himself.
agree. I think that's a very good comparison between the two of them because he's already kind of being that way, and I say that because even last week, how I was kind of adamant that he was just using Rhaenyra. He wanted her to be disinherited, and that he wanted to use it a way to marry Rhaenyra because he would be king. This episode kind of made me feel like, oh, his feelings are probably real, and then he being king maybe not doesn't quite matter to him as much as I think it does. And
Yeah,
probably
and
still,
even
like I said last week, like how I think I did the level last week, how I felt like Damon's ambition versus his love for Rhaenyra. I feel like
yeah,
it's kind of even now. Maybe a little bit more still, but I feel like it's pretty even right now. So
yeah. So the one thing that may seem like he's not that bad of a guy is, and again, this is Game of Thrones corrupted the mind here, but when
he scares
Rhaenyra makes
maggots, but
advances, yeah. So when Rhaenyra tells him, she's taunting him like, take me to Dragonstone and wed me. You kind of see that confliction of like, I love her, but it's again, it's the reason why he couldn't go all the way at the brothel, because he, again, this is Game of Thrones we're talking about
no,
here.
no,
So
no, 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 no. I'm not laughing because of that. Because actually, the more I think about it, that doesn't really bother me. Because, like you said, Game of Thrones, Cersei and Jaime were literally brother
yeah,
and sister. I'm only laughing because it made me when you said that, it made me think about what his wife said. I knew you couldn't finish. And it just made me think about the last couple of times we've seen
the
Damon have
double
sex.
entendre.
Yeah, he came. Even when he was with Massaria in the first episode, he technically couldn't finish either. So, and then last week he couldn't finish. Like, well, you really hurt Damon where you hit Damon where it hurt. So, like,
Yep,
you
he
kind of
did
brought
that
that upon yourself.
personally.
It made me think of the Michael Jordan me, and I took that personal. So yeah,
Stop. Get some help.
yeah. So, that's what just made me think about that. Like yeah, like
So to
uh,
me, it's like you can tell he loves Rhaenyra, and I think that's why to me he's not the villain, because the villain in Game of Thrones would not show love and compassion like that. Even Joffrey, he'd be a dick to his mom. He did not care. He did not
no,
love
nobody.
anybody. He treated everybody like shit, and you knew that he was the villain. Damon, when Game of Thrones shows the kind of cocky characters that you think are the villains, they're usually the heroes, or they get redeemed by the end of the show. Jaime Lannister, the example of that. To me, what makes Damon seem like he is going to be the hero is when he does. I say that Allison's going to banish um, Rhaenyra,
Rhaenyra.
and
Mm.
and she goes to her uncle for guidance and love, and he accepts her into Dragonstone, and that's why we get the big, the idea of the, Dragonstone and Targaryens, you know, like laid their bed in Dragonstone. That's where it's really going to show, like, okay, the Targaryen bloodline really did settle in Dragonstone, and they made it a home for, not only Daemon to rule, but to accept his niece into a home that she never had, pretty much.
I agree. I see where you're coming from, but I just had a thought while you were talking about this, and it just literally came to mind. And I know we're probably towards the end, but I just thought about. You remember how Damon stole the egg in episode 2 that he was supposedly going to give to his to Massaria and his new baby. we were supposedly having. Wouldn't Aegon and his sister have an ad too somewhere? We've heard nothing about an ad for them, so I'm pretty sure they have dragons as well. We just don't know about them. But the only dragons we know
Yeah,
about are Karatzis, Sirats, and Setor. I mean, I'm sorry, Sea Smoke. So I'm pretty sure the two Allison's two kids probably have dragons as well.
yeah, because we saw 2 new dragons come in this
Yeah,
episode.
and I
So
wasn't
that's
sure
5 dragons.
Yeah, I wasn't sure who's those were because at first I'm like, okay, it looks like a red dragon, but it didn't have that long ass neck like Karatsi's does. So I didn't feel like it
Yeah,
was. Yeah, you're right. There were two dragons that were just flying the sky, so we had no idea who they were. So yeah, I
yeah,
wrote that too. It's one of the sea smoke, but it didn't look white or gray like sea smoke did. So I'm very interested in knowing. Those are two dragons that are still on. That's at least two dragons that are on the board that we have not seen that could be very powerful for 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 the House Hygarian or High
the
Tower Targaryen, whatever.
Hygarians. Yes,
Hygarian, something like that.
let's do that. So to me, the clearest idea, but again, people in the comments, you can call us crazy for speculating. Please don't spoil anything. We don't know what happens,
And we don't want
but
to know.
we don't want to know. But to me, what seems like the right way to go with this is what I was saying. Have Allison and Aegon, you know, kind of make Rhaenyra their enemy, their target.
Mm.
And then Daemon sees this and is left for Rhaenyra over, like, again, the throne, his love for Rhaenyra,
Mm.
his love for Rhaenyra wins over that, and he helps her battle against um against Aegon's army.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you mean. And I can see. I think my theory is pretty much very similar. Maybe not. He does out of love, but he does it to taste to get her birthright back. Like he does it because he loves her, but he also knows that that's her birthright. That's what his brother. Because again, despite the silliness that Damon has done, I think he does completely love his brother, no matter how cocky he is at that time. And that was his brother's wish. So I think he's definitely gonna fight against. He's definitely gonna fight with Rhaenyra against uh, Allison and Aegon. Just how it happens and when it starts. That I'm pretty sure that's probably what's gonna happen at the end of either episode 10 or episode 9. Actually,
Episode
episode 9. I
9,
feel
it
like
has to.
I feel if Viserys isn't dead right now, if he's not dead yet, episode 9 he'll definitely will be. So somebody definitely has to die in episode 9. So we'll see.
So to me, what's great about this show is I went in thinking, oh, okay, Damon's the bad guy, Rhaenyra's the good guy. They're gonna have a war. That's the war. And now I'm like completely flipped.
Oh, great.
You know what I mean? Like,
Uh,
I don't see either of them as a bad guy. I see them end up teaming up, and that's the war. I like the idea of like not knowing what's gonna happen, and just kind of like, oh, okay, this happened this week. Now, what does that mean going forward? You know what I mean? It adds intrigue every week to be like, I want to watch the show and realize what happens.
I agree. I agree with you on that. Like it definitely adds intrigue. Like we on a week by week basis. Like, we're actually. It's sad to think though. We're actually halfway through the season now. Like this is episode 5. Everything else is just we're gonna be counting down pretty much until next year. I'm pretty sure when season 2 comes out. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So to me, do you think? And I'm pretty sure I asked you this last week. Do you think that we'll ever see the actual reign of the Mad King in this show before it ends?
before it ends, it depends on how many seasons they want to go. Yeah, I say maybe episode either full reign or the beginning of his reign. Like it'll either be the moment where he's about to start of Robert's rebellion, or it'll be when he's first anointed king. I think it'll be funny, not funny, but I think it'll be more poignant to like for the last scene of this series, four or 5 seasons later, for it to be like here is King Eris, King of the Andals, first of his name, and then for stuff to go black kind of like The Sopranos did. But
Oh
and that
God.
because everybody knows who's watched Game of Thrones knows who Aerys is, and they know what's gonna follow after that. And then maybe they'll go and spin off an Aerys TV show on its own. But I, part of me thinks that would be the smoothest, coolest thing to happen at that point. But
To me,
yeah,
though, as someone who has heard stories about the Mad King, I
you want to
would
see it?
love I would love a season where we just see him being the Mad King. Like he's worse than Joffrey. I want to see him go crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, is it? Well, I see. I say the interesting thing about Eras right now, at least in my mind, like the only thing I know about him is that he eventually goes so mad that he wants to kill everybody. He wants to destroy everybody in King's Landing. That eventually Jamie has to stab him. I would like to know a little bit more, like how he gets to be that way. But then part of me is also like, I don't like the intrigue about how he is now. Right now he's just a villain to me. I don't. A part of me doesn't want to know his backstory because then maybe like, poor guy. He was a victim and then he becomes crazy. But I don't know. It
To
can
me,
happen either way.
though, what's
One way or
great,
another, I'll watch it.
yeah. So what you could do instead of making us feel bad, like Eris has this tragic backstory, or whatever, just make it where he doesn't.
Yeah,
Make
he
it
can
where
be a
he
dick the whole show.
make it where he's a dick the whole season, from when he's anointed king to when he dies. It's just the king. So like he starts off as a dick, but okay. But then once he gets power, the power corrupts him so much he starts going mad. That's what causes him. It's literally taking his dick level from here and just skyrocketing it up to where he's just gone.
It
Like
could very
no
well possibly could be.
no reason to make us feel bad for him because we know he's gonna die. So just go full dick mode on this guy.
That's a very good point. They could do that.
Like, because then what's really cool is like Lord of the Rings, for example. I love how they had the trilogy and then the Hobbit came out and they tied in perfectly. So you watch the Hobbit first, then they tied right into the first movie. I like how they did that because now it makes the world feel more expansive. You know what I mean? I got this great trilogy over here, and then I can see the beginning of it. You know what I mean? So the idea of like House of the Dragon ends with the death of the Mad King by Jaime Lannister, and then we end off there and we go into first episode of Game of Thrones.
That would be cool. That would be cool. I'm only laughing like this because when you bring up Lord of the Rings, you're talking to the wrong person. Because I've only seen literally the first three movies. I've seen The Hobbit and then the Desolation of Smoke. But I'm not a fan of Lord of the Rings, so I never even finished. I never even saw the Battle of the Five Armies. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never saw it, so I don't know. I was just shaking my head. Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it went. I have no idea, personally.
So,
But it would make sense for it to just. It would be cool to kind of just see it flow into the next show
yeah, but
or into House.
though
To them.
your idea is good too, where it's like it ends with Aegon being, or not Aegon, but
Eris.
Aerys being king, and then it just cuts to black. Because
I feel like they
we
would
already
piss
know the
so many
story.
people off. I feel like part of me is also likes that because it would piss a lot of people off too.
See, I don't think it would because it's not like the Sopranos, where like
Yeah.
had nothing, after it or nothing before it. So
Yeah.
it's like it just ends on a cliffhanger with like questions. I think if it ends with Aerys being king, we already know what happens, to him. We know what happens during his reign. We hear stories in Game of Thrones, so we can end House of the Dragon here and then watch Game of Thrones again and have more context of okay, that's where his bloodline came from. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And that's why I really want. That's pretty much my biggest question about this whole show. Like, who again? I talked about this earlier. Who is his great grandparent? Is it Aegon or is it Rhaenyra, or is it this little baby that we don't even think about? So it's so many questions.
Yeah,
Aegon and
because that's
Rhaenyra
the
could kill each
daughter,
other.
right?
Yeah, that's
Sounds like the daughter.
who does? Oh yeah,
Allison has a daughter.
Yeah, Viserys and Allison have a daughter that we have not seen. Well, we saw the baby because Allison was holding her in this episode, but yeah, we haven't seen Aegon in 2 episodes. Where is he?
Yeah, good point. Where is the kid?
Exactly.
We have officially than the episode itself.
Sure.
So I think that's where we're going to end it off. Z-Man, where can people find you online?
Everybody, y'all can find me here on Facebook, which you're watching now, or maybe you're watching on YouTube. But again, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at Zaddeus Smith. That's Z-A, 2 D's, E-U-S Smith. And of course, every Monday here on the Nerd Entertainment Network, watching, recapping Beyond the Thrones, and doing trivia and do some other leads through the MTC here as well, and through Multiplex. And like I just had a video dropped this past weekend. Go check my name out on YouTube. Search Zaddeus, Z-A-D-D-E-U-S Smith. I trust you. Trust me. There's only one of me. One. This guy.
Yeah. It's the Z-Man. All right, guys.
Exactly.
If you did enjoy this, hit that like button, subscribe to the Nerd Entertainment Network down below.